Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today. We're counting down to the big Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. I want to say it's the main event. At least it's the main thing that they're highlighting, but I honestly think this is what's going to kick off the show on Monday Night Raw, leading into the Monday Night Raw main event. What am I talking about? I have no clue. It's freaking hot outside, honestly. I know I will be saying this for a long time. It's only the beginning of the summer, but here in Sacramento, California, it gets balls out hot. And I come out here on my lunch. My car's been sitting in the heat all day. It's not the funnest atmosphere for this, but the big main event thing that they're pumping up for Monday Night Raw is the Shield reunion, which will be kicked off on the Ambrose Asylum, the Dean Ambrose talk show. He will be bringing the main event of Money in the Bank, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins out on the show. Of course, the three of them made up the Shield, which basically for 2 years ran ruckshot over the WWE. They were undefeated for the longest time. They came in as sort of like the muscle behind Paul Heyman and CM Punk. They sort of broke off on their own, won the tag team titles. They won the United States Championship, which then became like a trophy to Dean Ambrose because it seemed like he never defended it. But all of a sudden, when they turned on the Authority, and the Authority decided that they were going to try and screw Ambrose out of the title by making him defend it in a battle royal, that, you know, all of a sudden he felt real bad that he had lost it. I think that Ambrose defended that in a pre-show match against Rob Van Dam. That's probably the one title that I remember. But I think everybody will always remember the Shield for the 6-man matches that they had, whether if it's, you know, against Ryback and Team Hell No. I believe that was at Elimination Chamber. They had the match against Team Hell No and shit, who else was it? The WrestleMania one. They had a lot of good 6-man tags on Raw, on SmackDown. Whenever they put those guys together, they really stepped up to the plate and really delivered. And you can tell that WWE really did have the building blocks for the future. Maybe Roman Reigns hasn't been able to really take those reins, even though they've given him the championship 3 times now already. Seth Rollins had the one good run with the belt, but you know, even with him at the top, because he was a heel, he got a lot of wins via disqualification, via countout, via cheating, and he didn't really look like that strong of a champion. But that's the way WWE books their heel champions a lot. So it is what it is. Maybe someday we'll get that babyface run from Rollins and he'll really be able to knock it out of the park. And I think for a lot of people, Ambrose has a lot of fans, but I don't think Ambrose is really at the place where people really thought he was going to be. When the Shield debuted, he was sort of the leader of the group, and I can honestly say on the pecking order of WWE, Ambrose is sort of at the lowest point with these guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up breaking up and becoming sort of a tag team match as the main event of Raw. Maybe Jericho comes out to sort of help out, you know, and sort of get into his feud that he's sort of going to with Dean Ambrose. And it ends up being, you know, Rollins and Jericho going up against Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. We know that, you know, Ambrose just said it on Raw last week when they were all sitting up on top of their ladders, hyping up the fact that the Money in the Bank ladder match was coming and who was going to win it. That we all know that we're all going to end up fighting, so let's just start fighting now, and that's what this is going to be. The Shield reunion that was, I was going to say a couple of months ago, but it's probably been a good while, on Monday Night Raw, where Roman, Rollins, and Ambrose had to team up. That was a big deal. I really thought that they were leading towards doing some sort of a Shield reunion in 2015. It didn't end up coming to be, but I think for a long time, people are always going to be wanting to know when the Shield are finally going to reunite and all be on the same page. There's going to be somewhere down the road that these 3 guys are on the same side and are really going to put their fists together and do it. You know, I remember the way they popped even after they were broken up, and they did the 3-man powerbomb on Randy Orton, and then Seth Rollins tried to throw it up in there, and he just got his ass kicked by Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose for his efforts. But that's the main event. I think that's where it's going. Tag team Jericho, and Jericho come out to be Jericho and Rollins against Ambrose and Reigns. As we continue along with the rest of Monday Night Raw, it seems like it's honestly got a plan of being a really good show. We had John Cena actually tweet out if AJ Styles was only going to be able to back up what he said the last few weeks, that he really wanted to take a step forward in being the new face of the new WWE. Cena was basically saying, you know, is AJ Styles going to run and hide, or is he going to be that guy that leads the company into the future? Of course, AJ Styles versus John Cena is going to be one of the featured matches. I don't think it's going to be the main event. I don't think it's going to be the co-main event, or the second to the top. I think it might be the third from the top, but it's still a damn good show. And for this show to have a Money in the Bank ladder match, as well as a WWE Championship match of Rollins versus Reigns, which we all know it's going to knock it out of the park, even if you're not a Roman Reigns fan. AJ versus Cena is a dream match. I think is going to live up to what a lot of people have been saying about it. From there, we go to the Money in the Bank ladder match. As of right now, it looks like Kevin Owens is sort of the favorite in that match. He got a big win on Raw last week. You've also got Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Ambrose, Jericho, and Del Rio in there. I wouldn't be surprised. The way they do it is they try to make everybody look like they have a highlighted spot leading up into the Money in the Bank match to sort of make it look like everyone has a real shot of winning this thing. When it comes down to it, I think most people are picking Kevin Owens to win it. If I had to have a second pick of having the briefcase, I'd say really look at Cesaro, who's a guy that we've been rooting for since easily before WrestleMania 30 to break through and really become one of the main players in the WWE. One thing to really think about with the Money in the Bank ladder match and who gets the briefcase is when they split up the rosters with the brand split in July, that Money in the Bank briefcase is sort of going to be double as important because we don't really know what the rules are going to be. Back in the day, they used to have 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches with 2 briefcases, one for Raw, one for SmackDown. This show looks like it's only going to have 1. So this guy might get drafted to one show, and they might sort of use an exemption to the rule of having this guy either on a pay-per-view because he's in the same building, or just do a surprise run-in on any random show that's not the one he's on. And try to become the champion. From there, we go to the Fatal 4-Way tag, which is the Vaudevillains, Enzo, Kaz, the Club, going up against the New Day. I'm not really excited about this match, and I'll tell you why. The Club is a team that I thought was really important, that they were coming over, that they were going to be a big deal. They are hooked up with AJ Styles, and they are back together. They are sort of in a feud, I guess you can say, against John Cena, which sort of relates to them being in a feud against the New Day as well, with New Day and John Cena being teamed up on Raw. But to me, honestly, this isn't a highlighted match for them to be in, sort of being linked in with Enzo and Kaz and the Vaudevillains. I would have loved to see the Club beat New Day and sort of show that they really are a force in WWE. Right now, they're just sort of being booked like everybody else, and I don't think that's the spot that they need to be. Titus versus Rusev was announced for the United States Championship last week, on Monday Night Raw, with the Rusev versus Jack Swagger match, a feud that I really, really like. I even watched the main event one time to see these guys go at it months after their feud had ended. I thought that maybe they were leaning towards doing a 3-way because of the fact that Rusev shoved Swagger into Titus, which has caused Swagger to get counted out. I thought they would sort of build Swagger versus Titus as well, making it sort of a 3-way to make it seem like Rusev had a chance in this match. But Titus, even though this guy's never really been a main player, even when he broke off from the Primetime Players the first time and he was a heel, he just was a guy. And, and he got featured in those Raw matches where basically the whole Raw roster came out to beat up one guy, and that's never a spot you want to be in if you want to be somebody who means something. I don't think that Titus has a shot against Rusev, but it is fun to see him actually get highlighted in his spot. So those are the big things for Monday Night Raw. Of course, the big thing is the Shield reunion, which I think will be kicking off the show. So we'll see what goes on from there.